I've seen I've seen someone take a drink like this before. Fucking just no hand movement, just only neck. This is how video gamers drink. I'm not even taking the piss. There was one time when I saw like a group of teenagers, and one of them had like a can of Red Bull or some shit. And hang on, I need to take this off. Yeah, one of them had like a can of Red Bull or some shit, and they all had forward neck posture already. And I swear to God, one of them went for a drink, and he went, and like his hand didn't even move. I'm gonna stop doing this, bro, because my neck gets proper stiff after. Do you know what's really interesting? Do you know a lot of people have like this forward neck posture? Guess why? Because there's a lot of times when your neck's gonna be forward when you're drinking, when you're using like a laptop and you're using your phone. But think about it. How infrequently would your neck be backwards? When are you ever like this? Like when you when you're chilling on a chair, when do you ever chill like this? Like, do you know what I mean? Like now my neck is actually in line now. Like now. When do you ever chill like this? Like... It's actually mad when you think about it, man. Like the modern world, especially if you're a bit of a taller guy as well. First man said this. Pretty much everything you use is like below you. Like when you go to a counter, like for example, imagine you're paying at some cashier, like in some shop. When you're paying, it's down there, isn't it? You have to pay. You have to look down there, do this shit. When you're in the kitchen cooking something, everything's like waist height. So you got to like, when you're working on a laptop, especially, you're like. Even my neck's getting fucking tight just from doing this. I don't know how you guys do this all day. I'm gonna start chilling like this from now on, bro. Okay, we have one, two. We have three. Yeah, we've got three videos that I'm gonna record, and maybe I'll do some more after that if like my speech and everything is pretty good. One, two, three. What I want, guys, I'll pick out the video and I want you to help me think of a better title for it. So we will go with. We'll go with this one. This is the title that I've got right now. Don't settle for unsupportive women. This is the title. You can read that, yeah? Don't settle for unsupportive women. What could be a better title than this? The video is going to be about the dynamic of you and your girl in a relationship. And I'm telling guys, like, don't settle for a girl who's not even supportive towards your purpose and your work. A lot of guys get into relationships with, like, quite frankly, a loser. And she just focuses on, like, her own indulgence and do a chest work. She just focuses on her own indulgence. Like, she's just doing fucking, like, she's just watching TikToks and shit instead of actually, like, helping the guy improve. What could be a better title? If we'll do this. If you can help me think of a better title, spam a better title right now, and if you can help me and I choose your title, I'll give you a shout out in the video. I'll say your name on the video. Don't settle for unsupportive women. What's a better title? What's a title that like twice as many people would click on? Don't fall for unsupportive women. Don't settle. I think don't settle is better. Surround yourself with people who I think it has to have like something about a woman in the title. Because if I just say people, it's like half these horny motherfuckers won't. Don't chase after low value women. That's a good title, but not so much for this one. Because we specifically are talking about women who aren't supportive towards your work. Don't settle for mid. That's a really good title as well, to be honest. I won't use it for this video. Maybe I'll use it for another one. Don't settle for mid. Don't settle for mids. Fucking toxic ass title, bro. Don't settle for mids. Who said that? Don't WB Comics. Okay, if I record that video, I'll give you a shout out in the video, bro. WB Comics. Don't settle for mids. That's a really good video. I should do that one as well, actually. Find a woman who supports you. I think this one's pretty good as it is. Do you reckon? Don't settle for unsupportive women. Don't settle on a 5 and get a 10 instead. Find a woman who supports you. Find an asset, not a liability. Don't fall for unsupportive women. Don't fall for unsupportive. Which one would you click on? Don't fall for unsupportive women. Don't settle for I'd say don't settle. How to attract a supportive woman. Why you need a high value. This one doesn't need changing. Yeah, do you reckon this title's good? Like, would you click on this title right now? Imagine a video from me and it was titled, Don't Settle for Unsupportive Women. Would you click on that video? Spam 1 if you'd click on the video title. Don't spam. Spam 1 if you'd click on the video. Don't settle for unsupportive women. And spam 2 if you wouldn't click on it. Maybe this title's good enough as it is, though. Don't settle for because I would click on this, to be honest. Don't settle for unsupportive women. I would, yeah. Yeah, a lot of ones, to be honest. Like, 2 guys have put 2, that's it. Yeah, maybe, okay, I'll record this one then. Don't settle for unsupportive women. I've got 3 more titles that I need your help with, so I'll record this one. You can watch me record it, and then I'll ask you for the next title. What is a dynamic or an experience that you could have in a relationship with an unsupportive woman? If anyone can give me an idea, I'll mention your name in the video. What is something, like a particular experience, like a very specific, not just in general, like, oh yeah, she doesn't help you with your purpose, but imagine like a very specific day-to-day experience / event of what would happen if you were dating an unsupportive girl. Like, for example, she'd get annoyed that you were working. What's something very specific? Because to be honest, like, it's I have to kind of guess this. I'll be totally honest, bro. I've only ever dated girls who have been very supportive. My girl is so fucking supportive for me now, and I've never actually been in a relationship with a girl who's... I mean, I have at like age 17 or something, but that was, you know, you're like a child still. I've never been in a relationship with a girl who's not supportive, but this is more for the guys who end up getting into a relationship with a girl who's... She could even still be pretty, to be honest, but she's just not like supportive or nice or encouraging towards your work. I'm very blessed that I've always ended up getting into relationships. Maybe there's something about me, but like I've always ended up getting into relationships with girls who actually like really like cared about what I was doing, and they always supported me and always like went out their way. To be fair, bro, you know, some of the experiences I have, you would literally think I was lying, honestly. You would think I was lying or just exaggerating, honestly. Some of the I'll tell them in this, some of the stories I have of women supporting my work. You would be like, nah, what the fuck? No girl's gonna do that for you, are they? Yeah, I'll record this video. I've got so many good stories to tell. Ready, boys? I've gotten kind of fat now, haven't I? I'm bare mode, bro. I've still got another 20 pounds more to bulk as well. I'm getting fat, bro. Oh, it's kind of warm in here. It's kind of warm in here. Let's do this. I saw some comments of people saying like, whoa, it's so impressive how Hamza just goes into recording mode so quickly. It's a nice compliment, to be honest, because I didn't even realize like how like experienced I've gotten at recording now. What kind of girlfriend do you think Jessica is? Would she be so sweet and feminine and loving and supportive? Or would Jessica probably be more selfish? Texting you to pick up Oreos on your way home from the gym. Jeffrey was so happy when he finally got into a relationship, but his life isn't even better now. In fact, it's a little bit worse. And this is and this is a common problem that so many young men face. They eventually improve themselves, finally get a girlfriend, and it turns out that she's a loser. And worst of all, she doesn't even like you or care about your work or your goals or your ambitions and dreams. Adonis. No, we're going to change it up for this one, actually. We're going to change it up. Hang on. Ah, bitch. Anastasia. Anastasia is a fine young woman. And she would make any man so happy to be with her. And so of course, she chooses the best man, Adonis. Together they have such a beautiful, polarized relationship where Adonis is truly masculine and Anastasia is truly feminine. This means that they complement each other just like I do with white women. Okay. By watching this video, you're showing us that you are a young man on self-improvements. You're out there right now trying to improve your life. Maybe you've gone into the gym, you started working harder, and you've taken a big step back from all of the distractions that you see your friends on, like social media, porn, and video games. That means that you're gonna improve your ability to attract out. That means that you're improving your ability to attract a girlfriend. But honestly, that means that you're improving your ability to attract a girlfriend, but you may go through the same huge, honestly, life-changing problem that so many guys go through that I really want to try and help you with. So many guys get onto self-improvement, improve themselves, but don't end up improving their selection of women just because, you do have this little sense of loneliness inside of you. Like you've experienced a lot of your life without really getting much attraction from women. And so when you finally do get some elements of attraction from some women, you jump straight onto it because, finally girls are into you, finally you're having sex. And usually the first girls that you date in your life, they're not that high quality. And so this trap that is set out there for men like you who are trying to improve themselves, you'll end up getting into a relationship with an unsupportive woman. Now, what do I mean by unsupportive? What do I mean by unsupportive? Now, what do I mean by unsupportive? A girl who's unsupportive may still have some fun times with you, may still laugh with you, and maybe you'll date and have like a good time with her. But she won't really ever think or care or invest herself into your work or your purpose or your goals or your dreams or your ambitions. And you might think right now, and someone else might say to us, well, she doesn't need to. She doesn't need to care about your work or anything. She's her own person. She should care about her own stuff. I mean, okay, fair enough. But then if that is fair enough. But if that is the personality that she's going to hold, but clearly then she doesn't really want to be in a relationship because a relationship is about us coming together to unite as like a whole. And it's only going to work if both of us actually want to invest in the other person. There's a lot of people right now who will try to convince you that even in a relationship, you should value individual. No, because you should do, to be honest, a little bit. You should do, shouldn't you? You should still stay a little bit individual even when you're in a relationship to still keep improving yourself. There's some people out there who think that a girl shouldn't even be like nice or caring towards her boyfriend. Like there's people who have this belief. It makes no sense. It makes no sense to us because obviously the point of a relationship is to become Because obviously the point of a relationship is to complement each other's lives. And so a woman's support is one of the best things that she can kind of give you in a relationship. Now I'm going to say something which is totally unsexy, kind of like ruins the feeling of like, the mystery. It kind of ruins the feeling of like this mystery and beauty of a relationship and love. But it's going to be very logical, and it's something that you should know. But so many people, like quite soft, emotional, so weak people, will disagree with us here. Relationships of any kind, relationships of any kind, friends or even girlfriends, are all just based on a value exchange. It's literally just us trading something to the other person. So for example, the thing that is probably at the top priority of a man, what he wants from like a relationship is constant. So for example, the thing that a man may want at the top of a relationship, even though a lot of guys don't really want to admit this, honestly, it's probably just consistent sex. That's one of our like biggest fundamental primal desires. Then after that, it's like, okay, well, we want to have that, and also like, loving times with a good woman, with whatever we individually value as a good woman. So my definition of a good woman could be different to yours. But then what we want alongside that is for her to have a personality where she complements our life, especially with our work. Now you see, now you see on this journey that you went on self-improvement, going to the gym, becoming more. Now you see on this journey that you, now you see on this journey that you've embarked, this journey of going to the gym, becoming more productive, wanting to make more money. You do realize what you're doing here, don't you? You're becoming more masculine. The world around you has told you that you should just stay in comfort and you should be fine being a feminine boy who's not ever attracting women and who jacks off to porn feeling lonely. They've told you that that's okay. But you've realized that it's not, and that you actually want to have the love and the attraction and the admiration of a feminine woman, which means that you need to become more masculine. And becoming more masculine simply means focusing so much more on work, on the mission. This doesn't mean, you have to be some like 20 hours a day work stuff. But it just kind of means that like you start to devalue things like playing around, playing on video games and just chilling. And you start to actually desire like work and progress and this like feeling of like a mission. Like this is like masculine energy inside of you. So you're becoming more masculine because of this. And so you're becoming more masculine because of this journey. And because of that, because of becoming more masculine, you care more about your work. And so suddenly what you want in this value exchange with a woman that you're getting into a relationship with is some kind of benefit to your work. You don't want it to go down. A masculine man will never ever accept that. A masculine man will never accept his work being sacrificed by getting into a relationship and experiencing love with a woman. You know you're masculine if love is like it it's kind of nice, but it's not on the priority list. Like maybe it's like number 2, number 3 or something like that. It's like the your mind and your energy is 90, 95, 99% dedicated to some kind of work. And it doesn't need to be, some career or business. It's like something that feels like some kind of work mission, something like that for you. And so, of course, when you get into a relationship, you want that to get better. But so many guys don't realize this. And so they get into relationships, which you might find yourself in. They get into relationships with women. They get into relationships with women who don't even support their work or their mission, this main thing that they're focused on with their masculine energy. And in fact, that main thing starts getting sacrificed because this girl doesn't really understand how important it is to this guy. There are a lot of women out there who, quite frankly, we just have to say this because so many guys don't really hear this, but there's a lot of women out there in the world who aren't even nice people. Now, there's a lot of guys who aren't nice people as well, but we're talking to guys here about attracting women. There's a lot of girls who aren't even nice, and you could even get into a relationship with them, and they're not even like nice towards you. They don't even care about you. Because if you flip this around and you get into a relationship with a supportive, feminine woman who cares about you the most, your life will get so amazing. Now, first of all, we might get like critically analyzing, someone might call us like misogynist. They always say this shit, don't they? Anytime men are talking about being men, which simply just labeled as like misogynist. Like if you're a man, you're a misogynist in these Western countries these days. But this fucking little soy boy with a skinny neck will say to us, okay, we're misogynist, we're sexist, because we want a feminine woman who prioritizes us above everything else. Like these people will literally say that we're insecure for this. And it might, there's some kind of like, it kind of, is it a little bit insecure to think you want to be the absolute top priority for your woman? Is that insecurity? Or is that just how relationships have always been? And now in the modern day, we're supposed to be so equal and so like individual, and women are supposed to be so like far away from men. Because I don't think it's insecurity. It's masculinity. You see, a feminine woman, you see, you see someone who has a lot of feminine energy. That means that they prioritize love above everything else. And so if your woman is feminine and you are masculine, it's just natural for you to be the top priority of her mind. Absolute top, above her family, above her career or studies. Literally all of those things are built on top of the foundation of love in her body and her soul. She could have the best grades, the best work, the best time with her family, and she will feel like shit if her love with you isn't right now. If you've been a bit distant or if you've been like a bit mean to her or something. She could get the best grades ever and she still wouldn't be happy. If she's got a lot of feminine energy. Now, likewise, she could have shit grades. She could mess up and get hurt. She could literally get like deathly injured. Her family could abandon her. All these things. But if they are built on the foundation of her prioritizing your love above everything else, she'll be okay. This is a person with pure feminine energy, and it's somewhat rare to see these days because of how like, oh man, we're gonna get fucking deep, bro. But like the modern sort of feminist movement, how weird it is. The modern feminist movements, feminists have killed off femininity in women. How does this make sense? Feminists have literally convinced women that feminine energy is a bad thing and it's weakness. I will say that again because it blows my fucking mind that I'm seen as a bad person for saying this when it's a total fact and people don't even realize this. Feminism has convinced women that their feminine energy is a bad thing and they should discard it, sacrifice it, and instead adopt masculine energy. They've told women to not be feminine, to not be supportive towards their husbands, to not be like mothers, and instead go out into the cold world. And like, bro, it's fucking 8 a.m. right now. All of the women who have fallen victim to feminism are literally getting ready and stuffing themselves into like masculine style dress with like fucking blazers, and now they're gonna go walk into the cold, hold the coffee cup up at breast height, go into work, and guess what's happening? Guess what's happening to these women who have been convinced not to support their husbands or to actually get a husband and to have children. Well, now they're just supporting their boss instead. You see, women in general are always going to submit to a man. Honestly, a woman is almost always going to submit to a man. And it used to be that your woman would submit to you and she would serve you. And so that was like, imagine how fucking beautiful that is to have a woman who is truly yours, who's literally bearing your child inside of her, who is totally like just yours. And so imagine the responsibility that you take, that this woman is yours, you're having children with her. Now it's time to become a man. Now it's time to work hard. Now it's time to provide and be like a good, upstanding man, to not waste time with like degeneracy. Your woman was supposed to submit to you. And in the modern day, feminism has convinced women that submissiveness is a bad thing and it's weakness. And so they've told them not to submit to you. Like feminists have told your woman or your future wife to not submit to you and instead submit to her boss. A woman is always submitting to someone. She's always submitting. A woman is always a woman is always submitting to a man. Always. A woman is always supporting a man. And now, instead of submitting and supporting you, she's just going to work and supporting her boss instead. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. How the modern dating world has unfolded, especially in like these Western countries, but honestly, it seems to be like even in some Eastern countries and like just all around the globe now, because of feminism. Like, I sound like such a fucking sexist, but like feminism's not a good thing, bro. And I can't believe like I'm saying this because I was raised as a feminist, bro. I was literally raised as a feminist. I would literally put my hand up in school saying, "Yeah, but I'm a feminist." And now when I look at it, I just think like it's got plot holes all through it. Like, oh, bro, it's so fucked, man. And it's led to this rise of this unsupportive woman that you could eventually get into a relationship with, who prioritizes herself and her studies and her career above you, which might seem like a good, healthy thing, right? But if she prioritizes those things above love and relationships, she'll miss out on the greatest gift that a woman has been given, which is the possibility of motherhood. if she's not going to support to you, to a man, she misses out entirely. And like, we sound like, these like grumpy old, like, masculine, like sexist, misogynist men who are saying what women should do and what they shouldn't do. We're not even telling them what to do. We're just like looking at, and we're not even telling them what to do. We're literally just observing what's happening. And there's studies that have literally found that like all the women who have gone into careers and performed well and essentially followed the feminist propaganda, and they've supported their boss instead of like a potential husband or the father of their children, they're not happier. In fact, like right here, right now, bro, imagine this. Right here, right now, it's 8 a.m. on a Monday. It's 8:07 on a Monday. It's 8:07 on a Monday. All of the women who have believed, all of the women who have all of the women who have this belief that they should not support their husband and instead they should go out and work. They're literally on their way to work right now, and I guarantee that they're not happy. I guarantee if me and you went outside right now and I just subtly, obviously it's kind of creepy, but I just subtly recorded the faces of every woman going into these nearby offices, I guarantee, and this is true, and any male feminist soy boy can disagree with us, bro, I guarantee, and we all know this is true, if I recorded them in a creepy way, you would not see one woman smiling on her way to work. You would not see one single woman smiling on her way to work. And maybe, I don't mean to like boast or put this in your face, but bro, my girl's having a fucking nice morning already. She's supporting me. She's submitted to me. She's in the other room watching, like I'm live streaming right now. I'm live streaming, recording videos. She's in the other room watching me live stream right now. You should see the smile on her face. And to think that this same woman would need to go to work right now if she was a feminist. How crazy is that? Now, I probably should have said this earlier. This does not mean that the enemy is women. We must understand this if we really want to make a change, bro. Because there's a lot of like red pill guys who don't understand this. They like what Chris Williamson. So he's like a really like famous podcaster, really intelligent guy. They're the red pillars. A lot of the red pillars are what Chris says are level 1 red pill. Which what he meant by this was that a lot of these like big red pillars that you see, like they've got like YouTube channels. You know who I'm talking about. They're level 1 red pillars because essentially they're not really helping. In fact, they're making things worse. Now, they're fair enough, they're bringing up some good messages, some good points, but they're actually making the whole dating market still fucked up by, first of all, shouting at women and telling them, oh, they're all sluts, so they're showing like, okay, it's men versus women. But then after that, they're telling men, oh yeah, go fuck as many bitches as possible, like, high value man can do whatever they want and everything. So it's like, okay, well, women lose out then. So it's just this war of men versus women, and it's never gonna work, bro. Any movement that is trying to like destroy one fucking sex, it's not gonna work. That's like level 1 red pill. I think level 2, maybe level 3, whatever like metric we can use, is when we figure out a way that men and women can come together to neutralize how fucked the modern dating is. Because the thing is, even women aren't even happy with the abundance that they have. Like a woman has so many options and everything, and so she doesn't need to support you anymore because she can still go and match with Chad on Tinder. Well, she's still not happy with it. If you ask a girl right here, right now, maybe don't do this, but if you did, just imagine that you went to your class or your work and you asked the women there, like, are they happy with their dating life and their dating history? They'd be like, oh, no, like, all guys are dicks. All guys just keep fucking me and, like, disappearing. Like, nah, like, dating's just, like, shit. I just want to be single now. No one's happy with the modern dating standards. Like, no one's winning. Well, I mean, one kind of person is winning. It's the top tier chads who are fucking 50 girls a year. It is not men versus women. It is men plus women versus the problem. And hopefully, I'm going to tell you like just some of the experiences I've had in terms of, having supportive women in your life. And I hope that this doesn't make you feel bad. If anything, it makes you kind of inspired to think, oh shit, like that's a possibility to have in a relationship. That's something that I want. So right now, like you can click off this video if it might like trigger you in some sense, but like I'm just going to talk you through some of the experiences I've had in terms of dating supportive women and some of the acts, like the experiences like they've done for me, which it's just incredible. So on a small scale right here, right now, it's 8 a.m. on a Monday. I'm just setting up to record this video and my girl brings in both of my water bottles and also a coffee. I didn't even say, like, she asked me if I wanted a coffee and I said, yeah, like in 5 minutes. And she just brought it in. Now I'm some sexist misogynist for that, right? Somehow I've got to be a bad person because I must have like forced her or manipulated her to bring me water and a coffee, right? No, just she found pleasure in doing that because she's supportive. A feminine woman's always going to be supportive to a man. Now that she doesn't have to work a normal job, she's going to be supportive towards me. And this is a very small scale. I'm reminded, you know, I wrote down the title for this video, and it just reminded me of an experience I had with the longest relationship that I've had a few years ago, where I had a girl who was totally supportive of me and the work that I was getting into. I was getting into entrepreneurship. That this girl that I dated a few years ago, she would literally go out of her way to help me with my business. So my business at the time was reselling clothes on eBay. So I'd flip things on eBay, right? And the process was that, you know, I'd buy some things, they'd come to the apartment. When the thing that I was selling would eventually sell, we would need to package it up in, like, you know, some plastic packaging thing, write the name and address, go out to the post office and post it. I never did any of that. I was working a job as well. So I would work a job. Something would sell, I'd see it on my phone, you know, like, oh, congratulations, this jumper, this hoodie is sold. And you know what, like, my system was? I would just screenshot it with the customer's address, send it to the girl that I was dating at the time, and she would do all of the rest. She was so supportive that she was helping me with my business in kind of like a silly term to say, but like almost like slave labor. Like, I wasn't paying her to do this. Think about it, I wasn't paying her to do this. I wasn't forcing her to do this. She literally did it because she was a feminine woman who loved me and wanted to support me. She couldn't have imagined a life not doing that. This girl would go out and post, you know, the clothes that had sold for me, and pay for the postage, and never even fucking ask me to pay her back or anything. When you become more masculine, you start to experience these like feminine, supportive women in your life, and it's one of like the best compliments that you can have. I've said before on like some random video just about maybe a month or two ago that I've had the single biggest improvement to my work life and my success, honestly, by dating my girl. Honestly, I'd love to tell you that it was hardcore discipline and I'm such a disciplined man, and you know, I think I do have above average levels of discipline, but just suddenly dating a supportive woman has just made it so that I can work and not have to think about other things. Imagine you working, imagine you studying, you know, whatever like task you've got, and your beautiful girlfriend knocks on the door and she's already made you a protein shake. You can imagine, like, that's such a small gesture, but that brings a fucking smile to every man. If you truly imagine this right now, imagine you have a girl who you totally love. You know, she's in your house or whatever, and you're just working on something. And without even asking, like, imagine just your girl stood there in the doorway right now, like, I made you a protein shake. That brings a smile to every man, and yet it brings like a fucking aggressive, like scowl to these male feminists who say that somehow that's abusive. They think that we're abusive for this. They think that we're like hateful people for this. For just wanting some protein, man. I will leave you on one final note, which is that if you do want to cultivate more like supportive, I will leave you on one final note, which is that if you do want to attract a supportive feminine woman, the single greatest way to do that is to become more masculine yourself. I have a full guide to masculinity. It's over an hour long, where I literally, you know, this term's kind of weird, masculinity. What does it really mean? I literally break it down in such like stupid, like simple steps that you can take. It's like a full guide that you can watch completely for free. It's on YouTube. It's over an hour long and have like a card pop up. I highly suggest you just go watch all of that and really just learn as much as you can. When you become more masculine, you automatically just polarize women to become more feminine. And when a woman's feminine, she's supportive to you. It's the greatest compliment to your life, honestly. As like a masculine man myself, the greatest like addition of my life has been my girlfriend, honestly. Click and watch that masculinity guide right now. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah. Whew. Why do the comments always turn to shit as soon as I look away, bro? These fucking dumbasses, man. I'm tired of this, like, fucking just dumbass spammers every single time I look away. It just doesn't make any sense, like the shit that they post as well. Like, I have to keep going on to the main thing and just keep banning them. It never makes sense to me. There we go, we're back, boys. Yeah, now we've got the boys actually talking. It doesn't make sense to me. These guys literally spend their time just spamming weird stuff. Have we got any more dickheads in the chat? Anyone else want to get banned? The Capybara side, you can get banned. hide user on this channel. By the way, I don't have any moderators, and I don't like look through the people who have banned on this channel, which means that if I do ban you, it's like you'll literally never be unbanned. There's no request or anything. It's like I'm the only one who does this. I'm not gonna look at your fucking request. So if you do want to get banned, it's like you will literally never be able to type on my channel ever again. I think they're just lonely. I'm not, like, I don't even say this to be harsh, but I've noticed that guys who spam and who are trolls and stuff, they just really, really want like a feeling of importance. We got anyone else? Any more dickheads in the chat? Spam something stupid whilst I'm still here. At least be like Aravind, bro. Like, chat shit. It's actually kind of funny when someone like chat shit to me and everything. It's actually nice and everything. But like when someone just brain dead just spams shit, it's like, what's the need? It's not like you're not even funny. You're not funny. It's not funny. It's not entertaining. It's like, what's the need? You're just like some retard who's like, they're just spamming some shit, bro. We got anyone else who wants to get banned? Anyone want to spam some stupid shit right now? I don't know how you put slow mode on. I'm not gonna lie. I would make some people moderators, but I don't know who I can even trust. I'm not gonna lie. Is there anyone who I know here? Anyone who I know? Anyone that I spoke to at all? I don't know how you turn slow mode on. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I would literally mod our Aravind, I'm not gonna lie. I think I can actually trust him. Oh, we got another dickhead. Goodbye, only Yov. Hide user, there we go. This is overpowered, honestly. YouTube has this button now that you can literally ban someone from ever typing again on your channel. Imagine never being able to contribute to like our community or the comments or anything. Anyone else? Any more dickheads? Spam now or forever hold your peace. Anyone else? Okay, I think we're good now. As soon as I start recording a video, they're all going to come back. Yeah, that was a good vid then. Bro, you don't realize how sweaty I am underneath this bathrobe, man. I'm tired, bro. I'm tired of wearing a bathrobe, man. So that was Don't Settle for Unsupportive Women. Boom, that is recorded. What we will do is record the next video in a second, and we will do... Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Okay, the next video we're gonna do is 90% of men are lonely. What are the consequences? Let me know if anyone's got a better title, and if I use your title, I'll mention you in the video. 90% of men are lonely. What are the consequences? That's my current title. I think we can do better than that. 90% of men are lonely. What are the consequences? If you can suggest me a title that I use, I'll give you a shout out. It's a video talking about why men are lonely, you know, the fucked up dating market and everything, and then also what are the consequences. So I've literally just, it's a basic ass title I wrote. 90% of men are lonely, what are the consequences? I think this title will actually perform well. If anyone's got a better title, speak now. I'm gonna go have a piss quick. W-O-L screen, baby. W-O-L screen. W. Yes. Consequence of being a lonely man. The consequences of male loneliness. That's pretty good. The consequences of male loneliness. I think a video with a number in the title usually performs really well. 90% of men are lonely. What are the consequences? We got any better ones? I think this is another good title. I really want to use someone else's suggestion, but I actually think this is a pretty good one. 90% of men are lonely. What are the consequences? This is why 90% of men are lonely. Is this title already good enough, do you reckon? Modern dating has made men lonely. Why 90% of men are lonely? The consequences of being in the bottom 90% of men. Only 10% of men are truly happy. The consequences. %90 of men. Oh, my biceps are so fatigued. Holy shit. I'm so sore. Dun 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 dun. Bum 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 bum. Ba-da-dum bum bum bum. Ba-da-bum bum 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 bum. Do 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 do. Bum ba-da-bum bum bum bum. Yeah, number in the thumbnail will be consequences of 90%. Why are 90% fit? Nah. You are lonely, here's why. The average men get no attention. 90% of men face this reality. 90% of men are lonely and it's getting worse. Maybe we'll go with this title, but then let me think. What's another thing you can recommend for me? What are the consequences of male loneliness? Can we pick out 5 things that would happen If 90% of men are lonely in your country, what are the consequences? Let's pick out a few things. What are the consequences of men being lonely, specifically because of like the dating market and the red pill shit? Bro, your beard. Bro, your beard. Change the outfit. What are the consequences of 90% of men being lonely? Violence. Like an incel uprising. Suicide. Decrease of mental health, self-esteem. Okay, we'll go with some of these. 90% of men are lonely. What are the consequences? Jeffrey's done everything right. So why isn't it working? He went to school and he studied as best as he could. When he'd speak to girls, he was as nice as he possibly could be. And they just never seemed interested in him. Year by year by year, Jeffrey's just sick. Year by year by year, Jeffrey is just sick of these rejections. Soon enough, he doesn't even want to try anymore. He finds comfort in the internet and online communities and porn. No, I'll say that again. He finds comfort in the internet and online communities and dirty websites. And then he sinks deeper and deeper into and then he sinks deeper and deeper into the hole of loneliness. If we zoom out, more than 90% of the entire world are like Jeffrey. What are the 10% like? Adonis! Adonis is part of the 10% of men, but that does not mean that he is an asshole. In fact, Adonis is the most kind, the most generous, the most supportive tribe leader that they could be. He wants his men to grow. He wants his men to grow alongside him, to experience to experience all of the happy, beautiful moments that he's experienced being in this top position of men. Adonis isn't lonely, but he can emphasize with the men that are. When I started this journey of entrepreneurship and self-improvement, I moved away from the city that I was living in and I moved back to my parents' house. I moved back in the COVID lockdown and I was deeply lonely. I was literally all by myself. I had my family, but I wasn't so close to them. I didn't speak to any of my old friends. Honestly, I tried to. I really tried to like message them and stuff, and they kind of ignored me and stuff. And I literally just started to just navigate life by myself, trying to build a business, trying to grow this YouTube channel. And I'd go on walks every single day, literally just hoping to like bump into someone that I could talk to, and I was like practicing approaching guys and stuff. I remember recording a private personal video, just kind of like almost like a vlog that I could watch back of how things were. And in this 12-minute video, I ended up just repeatedly saying of how lonely I was, that the social and sexual sides of my life were totally just lacking. I had no male friends. I had no girls who were really interested. I had no male friends, no friends at all. I wasn't meeting any girls. I didn't have any level of intimacy. From May 2020 for around 4-5 months, I spoke to no one. I had no friends. It was deeply, deeply lonely. Why are 90% of men are lonely? And we're going to figure out what the consequences of this are. But first, we need to actually figure out and discuss why are so many men so lonely. There's two major reasons. One is about male safe spaces and our ability to make male friends. And the other is about the dating market and how fucked it is to try and date and cultivate love and relationships and to build a family in this modern day. So we'll talk about that first. There is a current dynamic that you probably are aware of, which is that the majority of women are getting fucked by the same few top tier guys. And I don't mean to be vulgar by saying that word fucked, but that's exactly what's happening. The top tier guys, the guys in the top 10% of men, the wealthy guys who are in shape, who are very confident, and have this like level of masculine and who have this level of masculine stoic and who have this confidence and who have this masculine stoic personality which is so attractive to women. These top tier guys, one guy, two guys, these top tier guys, just a handful out of hundreds or thousands of guys, they're sleeping with every woman. They're sleeping with most girls. And you might think that this is a bit too far, right? No, those guys aren't, right? There's real data to prove. There's real data to prove that the top 20% of men are attracting 80% of women. I'll say that again. The top 20% of men are attracting 80% of women. There's a very exponential return based on the level of man that you are. The majority of men get literally zero attraction from women. Some guys get absolutely like astronomical levels. There's been studies done on dating apps like Tinder, Bumble, which have shown that the majority of women actually left swipe almost every guy, but the guy that they do right swipe on is pretty much the same for so many girls. So essentially this is the dynamic of the one guy fucking 10 girls who all know each other. The consequence of this becomes even more understandable when you start to look at how our modern society has opened up sex for both men and women, and especially for women. Like, women are way more forward with having sex these days than they would have 100, 200 years ago. Why? Well, first of all, it's like these social standards. It's not only okay for a woman to sleep around these days, it's a little bit encouraged. If you look at all of the media, if you look at these music videos of these, these like idols, these rap stars, these like female rappers, fucking Megan Thee Stallion, fucking disgusting ass woman, bro. You see these women who are promoting this sex culture, this culture of telling little girls, 10-year-old girls, like, yeah, I just fucked my drug dealer. Yeah, it was so awesome. You see on TikTok of these girls just casually saying, oh yeah, I just fucked 3 guys yesterday and like I'm really lonely still. So society's made it trendy for a girl to sleep around these days. And so now that girls can't, and so society's made it trendy for a girl to sleep around these days. Now couple that with the fact that there's no longer this constraint, this restriction on women's sexuality that came from our faith in God when everyone was religious. It was this idea that you couldn't have sex outside of marriage, and especially for women, because there was more consequences to that. Women are certainly more vulnerable to the consequences of casual sex that can impact like your soul and your ability to fall into love and really respect the person that you end up marrying. Then with the sex revolution that started, I think in the 60s, the 1960s, there was the birth of the contraceptive pill. And suddenly women now had the possibility of having casual sex without the risk of pregnancy. And so many women hopped onto the pill. And what that meant now is there's not that many consequences for a woman sleeping around. There is very severe consequences for the long term, but most people don't think long term. Most people only ever think short term. And in the short term, she can't get pregnant because she's on the pill. Her friends are not going to ostracize her, but they're gonna, promote her, tap her on the back. You go, girl. You fucked Chad last night. Whoa, awesome. Her mother, who usually would have been like this role model, her mother's probably a slut. Her father, probably not in the home. And so this sounds sexist because I'm only talking about women, but this is very important because the issue is that when women are allowed to sleep around with no problems whatsoever attached to that, well, suddenly women are obviously going to, well, then what do you think? Well, then who do you think women are going to sleep with? If women in general are allowed to fuck, they're of course going to choose the best man to fuck, right? It's common sense. It's like, if she's allowed to have sex, so she may as well pick the best guy for that. Who's the best guy? Well, it's the same guy that every girl's sleeping with. It's the top tier guys. Well, it's the same guy. It's the top tier guy. It's the best guy that she can get. And so women can now afford to be way more selective. Before, 100 years ago, if you were like not disgusting and you had a good job and you had good morals and values as a man, you'd get married. Like, you would literally be married with children at this age right now. If you're like 20 years old, you would have had children at this age because you just had a good job and you were like a strong, hard-working man. That was what was needed to marry a woman and to provide and to like, live this happy life of having a family. But now that's not enough, because now she may as well left swipe on every guy who is underneath 6 foot. She may as well left swipe on every guy who isn't making at least 100K a year. She may as well left swipe on every guy who isn't a 7 or an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Because why should she give you this pity right swipe? Why should she, honestly, why should she invest into you, a guy who's not anywhere near as good as the next guy that she could swipe right on Tinder? So of course she may as well go for the best guy that's out there. But then that best guy is sleeping with a lot of girls, which means that there's an uneven distribution of love, sex, and intimacy. A lot of girls are going with this top tier guy, which means all these guys down here are being left with nothing. Now, this has always been the case. This is true. This has always been the case. In Islam, you're allowed to have 4 wives in certain circumstances. And previously, strong, very wealthy, powerful men had harems, like literally hundreds, thousands of women that they used to sleep with. That's true. This is actually really true. There's men out there who have slept with thousands, tens of thousands of women, literally. I know it seems weird, but like there's literally men in history who slept with, there's men alive today who have slept with tens of thousands of women. Think about that. That's not even like an exaggeration. Obviously it's somewhat rare. Obviously it's rare, but like there are men out there who have fucked tens of thousands of women. And then there's you. Your heartbeat goes faster when you think about holding hands with a girl. When she replies to your text with a 1-word answer, you're still so excited. When you think about how different these experiences of men are, you start to realize like some guys are getting way more than what's fair. But then obviously this is an issue, because is it unfair because that guy technically is better? Should women not go with the guy who they think can give them, the most sort of alpha Chad genes? Should they not? It sucks for the lonely guys, but like, should a woman not go for the best guy that she can get? Maybe she should. But previously, with the control of religion and the lack of the internet, the best guy she could get, it was probably you. Honestly, like you went to the same church or mosque as her, and you were a hardworking young man, and you were slightly better than the other guy, but then she would have married you. But now, it's like, why the fuck would she choose you from her church? 1, she doesn't go to church. 2, her dad's not even around anyway, so it's like, yeah, she may as well fuck around. And 3, bro, the best guy she can get now is like some prince in Dubai, some millionaire, some billionaire, some tens of, centimillionaire who's flying her out to Dubai and just fucking her and then sending her back. You can barely afford to get her an Uber to come to meet you, and some guy can fly her business class to Dubai, no problem. Now that the dating market has been totally open and even encouraged for women to, like indulge and to sleep around, this means that the majority of guys are not getting any attraction from women. That means that's going to drastically increase how lonely a lot of guys are. And then when you think about, this isn't shallow. It might seem shallow right now, like, oh yeah, so many guys aren't getting sex, but it's like, that's deeply important. That's a fundamental psychological need. And then when you think about what sex actually is supposed to lead to, which is family, and that's like, the best, biggest, permanent cure of loneliness, well, then most guys aren't having that. Most people aren't even having families these days. People are having families at like age 30, later. And then the second reason, and then the second reason why men are so lonely these days is that we don't have male spaces anymore. Do you know something sexist, misogynist, hateful that I just did recently? I told the moderators in my server, so we have a Discord server that's linked in the description. I'm not trying to plug it to you, but there's a big server there of 100 and something thousand young people, right? Young men, mostly young men who are in there. I think there's 97% young men. I think there's 97% male people who are in this big Discord server that we have, that I'm the owner, and maybe like 3% women, right? It's the same as our YouTube analytics, right? The moderators started talking about introducing a role for the women who were a part of our server. And I did something totally sexist, right? Which so many people could hate me for. I made a message for all the moderators and said, no, we will never ever produce an update on this server for women. Our 100% focus, our focus will be 100% dedicated to the men. You've probably never heard someone speak like that before, where I openly will look you in the face and say, no, I'm not helping women. This channel is not for women. It will never be for women. Do you know how much more success I could have personally built if I made this like unisexual, is that the word? Like, you know, this open sort of self-improvement channel for both men and women. You know how much more fucking success and subscribers and views I could have had? Something that I am so fucking strongly opinionated about is having core masculine male-only spaces, because we so deeply need that now. Women can come and watch our videos. My girl is in the living room right now watching me live stream this. I'm live streaming right now as I record this video. My girl's watching me live stream. That's fine. Women can watch our videos. That's absolutely fine. They can comment, fine. But this channel's not for them. And it will never be for them, and I will not make videos for them. My Discord server is not for them. They can join and they can enjoy it and, you know, get value from it. Okay, awesome. But I'm never gonna make updates for women. That's seen as so sexist these days. It's seen as so like, oh, that's a barbaric. Oh, you've gotta open, you know, you've gotta have these open, inviting spaces for all kinds of people. Shut the fuck up. Because you wanna know the second reason why men are so lonely? Every kind of male space has been destroyed. What rites of passage are men going through these days? Hundreds of years ago, and especially hundreds of years ago, men were going through a rite of passage. The elders, like the older males, would put a young man, like a teenage boy, through this rite of passage, something hard work, like you know, working on the farm or some dangerous activity. And then his father and his brothers and his uncles would be stood there looking at this young man and saying, "You're a man now." Imagine how you would feel if you went through that. Imagine if, like, men who you respected put you through something difficult and there was only men around. And then, like, some man that you truly respected put his hand on your shoulder and said your name and said, "You're a man now." What I've just described is seen as toxic in this modern day. I'm toxic. I'm so fucking toxic because that's exactly what I want to do for young men now. If that's toxic, then I'm toxic as fuck. One of my dreams, one of my like long-term goals is I want to move somewhere very like safe so I can organize this in a safe way and buy out like this big fucking like space, this compound, you know, acres of land, and set up some like quite dangerous and challenging activities and invite for free a select number of my audience, you know, every year there's like 15 guys, and put them through a rite of passage right in front of me, where I will like make you do some hard shit right in front of me, something that like is dangerous. And if you survive, if you get to the end of it, I will personally look at you and say that you're a man now. Because we don't have these rites of passages anymore. We don't have them. Not only do we not just have, you know, this significant event that turns us into a man, we don't have any male spaces at all. Or this new inclusion, you know, this, what's that word? Inclusive sort of era where like we're not allowed to just have like a boys club anymore. You know, the Boy Scouts in America allow girls in there. You know, like male sport teams are getting, pressured to allow women in them. Because, well, you can't just have a space with just guys, that's toxic. So what was once this core, strong group, you know, multiple groups all around the world, that was just full of men actually being men together with this sense of competition and our male masculine values, it's being destroyed and took away from us. You know how, bro, this shit pisses me off, honestly. Do you know how many female homeless shelters there are? Lots and lots and lots. It's actually becoming like an issue in America where a lot of male homeless shelters are getting essentially like destroyed because they're being pressured to let women in, and eventually once you let women into like this homeless shelter, you kind of have to like change the rules and, you know, change the sort of structure that eventually what was once a homeless shelter for both men and women eventually has to become just for women, because then there's like an issue of like, you know, putting quite like, you know, homeless, dangerous, drug addict kind of like people all together. So there's actually a lot of like these sad accounts of a bunch of homeless guys who can't even find any kind of shelter to go to because they're not women. Imagine being homeless as fuck. Homeless as fuck. Imagine being homeless, bro. Imagine being literally hungry. Going up to like a homeless shelter that should technically allow you in. They've got a free space, a free room right there, which is warm. And you're literally fucking like cold. You've got cold shivers. You smell, you feel horrible. There's a free room right there with a shower, with, you know, a toothbrush and there's a free room right there. And they look you in the eyes and say, "You've got to be a woman." And then imagine you need to go sleep on the fucking street. Because this is what's happening. Male spaces are being destroyed because they think that we're toxic. They think that we're hateful, hurtful people for this. They think that we hate women. They don't even realize like how much we actually respect and admire and even slightly worship women. They don't realize we're watching videos like this, discussing male loneliness because we just want love and a relationship in our lives. So there's those two major reasons why 90% of men are lonely. The dating market is all messed up and the majority of guys aren't getting any attraction from girls. Girls aren't replying to some guy who's not a top tier man. And then also male spaces are just being destroyed. So not only are we not dating and having love and sex and families, we don't even have brothers to be friends with and to grow with anymore. And so what are the consequences of so many men being lonely? There's quite a few. One of them that comes to mind is the incel uprising. So incel is this quite how do you say that word? Derogatory term for a man who essentially can't have sex. Like he's not a top tier man. So which is honestly, like you might, if I asked you what percentage of men are incels, you'd probably say like 10%, 5%, 20%, something like that, right? Technically, 90% of men are incels. I will say this again. 90% of men are incels. Because 90% of men aren't having sex, aren't dating. And out of that 90%, bro, there's not that many who are voluntarily doing that. Of these 90% of men, no matter if they're on monk mode or semen retention, bro, you put a hot girl in front of them, they'd love to fall in love with her. They'd love that she fell. Of course they would, right? I think a lot of like this monk mode semen retention is quite cope for a lot of guys. The Sigma male grinds that like, oh yeah, girls are just stupid. I don't need girls. A lot of it's just cope from just incels. The thing is, 90% of men are incels. You watching this right now are technically an incel. It doesn't seem like you actually are because incel seems this like scary word of like these dark, like dangerous people. But the term and the definition of an incel is involuntarily celibate. But the definition of incel means involuntarily celibate. That means that they are celibate, like they're not having sex, involuntarily, which means like not by their own wishes. There's a lot of guys in this bottom 90% of incels who act like it is voluntarily. They act like, well, I don't care about getting girls. It's a cope. 90% of men are incels. And so that's fucked, bro. Honestly, I've just like, that's fucked. 90% of men are incels. To be an incel, you don't need to be like these ones that get put on the news when they've like shot up some school or something like that, because that's more of like a terrorist. That's more of like this dangerous criminal, killer, murderer, right? An incel simply is by definition just a guy who can't get laid, a guy who can't have sex with girls right now, a guy who's not getting attention from girls. If you get less than 10 matches a day on Tinder, which is more than 90% of men, then you're probably an incel. That's actually fucked how many guys are in this group. And so there may be some kind of incel uprising, which is an uprising of the 90% of men who no longer have this fundamental need of sex, love, intimacy, and family checked off. So there may be some kind of uprising of these young, fighting age, not high testosterone, but like, higher testosterone than other kinds of people. And so we may see a lot of more like dangerous criminal murderer incel attacks. We may see more incel attacks where, someone's like shooting up and being violent and hurting other people. We may also see this large group of men skyrocket. We may also see so many of this group of men start killing themselves. Now, suicide is already so common in men. It's so common. To think that it's like a female problem pisses me off, honestly. Like, I've seen adverts before that have literally said 1 in 4 suicides are women, and then it's like a hotline for like women's like care or something. And I saw it, I was just like, come on, bro, come on. Think about the statistic that they're using. 1 in 4 suicides are women. So what it actually means is that 3 out of 4, 75%, actually it's closer to about 80% of suicides are men, and they didn't even write about us in this like headline or whatever. Suicide is already, I believe it is the single most common reason for death of like young men in developed countries. It's already very common. And I fear that over the next few years, it's going to rise exponentially. Not a little bit more, a little bit more. You've already seen like a bunch of celebrities who have ended up killing themselves. You've seen like people who have overdosed on drugs almost like on purpose. And you see like, maybe you've seen it with one of your friends or someone in your school. But there will be, like, mark my words, there will be an exponential rise in male suicide to the point that schools will be shut down because they don't realize what's happening. Every year in a school, maybe one pupil kills themselves these days, one or two. Some random year, like probably very soon, there's going to be a school year where 25 young men kill themselves. Just randomly, from the jump of like 2 per year to about 25, because this is how exponential growth works. And that will lead to chaos. The school will shut down, there'll be an investigation. You'll see this on the news. Suddenly, in the space of 2 weeks, 3 celebrities, male, that you really love will kill themselves within the space of a couple of weeks. You'll see this soon, bro. I promise you that chaos and bad, hard times are exponential. I promise you will see this. Because what do they have to live for? What does a man in the modern day even have to live for? If you're in the top 10% of men and you're wealthy, you've got status, you're attractive, you've got a girlfriend or you've got multiple girls, okay, fair enough, you've got a lot of boxes checked off. But if you're in the bottom 90% of men and you're not even wealthy, so you still have to go to some shit job every single day, you're not even making much money, you can barely even afford your groceries anymore because stuff's so expensive, the energy bill is fucking atrocious, so you're literally hungry and cold. Like, literally, bro. The modern man is hungry, cold, and lonely. What do they have to live for? They're not going to have families. And the hope that a lot of guys do have, maybe these girls will turn around. Maybe she'll realize that this is the dynamic of the little friend zone, little beta male who sees the girl keep getting fucked over by the chads, by the alphas, and eventually he hopes that she'll eventually, change her life around and realize that those jock arsehole type of guys, those alpha high testosterone type of guys are like not the right thing, and she'll eventually choose a real man like him. Well, that's gonna happen 5-10 years after she's enjoyed those bad boys. Just around half of women who get married openly admit that the best sex of their life was not their husband. Is that gonna be you, bro? 49%, it's just under half. 49% of women who get married openly admit that the best sex of their life is not their husband. Imagine getting married, and people can say this is insecurity, bro. Maybe I am insecure, but imagine getting married to a woman, and she having some other guy in her. Imagine getting married to a woman, and she has a different guy in her mind when she thinks of like the best, most hot sex that she's ever had in her life. And this is obviously accounting for older couples, but around 60% of married women literally say that they would rather nap and read a book instead of having sex with their husband. Because what's happening is that these women, they get to freely enjoy sex, so they sleep with the chads, the higher testosterone, the guys who choke them and slap them and spit in their mouth. And women, honestly, a lot of women like this stuff. And then eventually, she goes through a bunch of guys like this, and they don't really want to commit because they're too boisterous and adventurous, and that this type of man is very hard to settle down, unless she's a very, very good woman. But then, once she's been through experiences like that, eventually, she gets kind of tired of this cycle of these guys who just keep fucking her and they don't get into a real relationship. A lot of girls are experiencing this problem right now, and then eventually they meet a real man like you, and they start praising you, yes, he's a real man, he wants a relationship. This is the dynamic that she's enjoyed the alphas, and now she wants to just chill with a beta. This is an issue which now gets to very controversial stuff, which is quite dangerous for me to say with the risk of my channel. Because at this point then, when a woman is older, it is pretty likely to be true that an older woman is not going to be as good of a partner to you as a younger woman would be. And there's multiple reasons for this. One is that men very much appreciate beauty and very much value attractiveness in women. Women still value attractiveness, but nowhere near as much as men do. And women generally are more attractive being younger, not to a pedophile level or anything weird, but generally woman's attractiveness on average seems to peak at like 22, 23, and that's when most men say like a woman's most attractive. In fact, actually no, it's even more like fucking like it's not pedophile honestly, but like, it's even more red pill than that. Most men actually rate a woman's highest attractive, like physical attractive age as 18, and 18 was the lowest in this study. There was one random study, right? And I've not cited these, so you can say I'm lying or whatever if you want, but like there's this one random study that found that if you ask men of all ages what age of women they think are most attractive, men of all ages, apart from like one random outlier, rated 18 as the most attractive in women. So essentially, all men, I mean, I shouldn't generalize, but most men think that an 18-year-old woman is more attractive than the same woman who's 20, 25, 30, whatever, in general. And for women, it was actually not that case at all. For women, if you imagine like some 30-year-old, she's not going to say like, oh yeah, men are most attractive at 18. She's not going to say that, is she? Women generally was in line with their own age and oftentimes a little bit older, which is the dynamic which we've always seen. Women generally prefer men who are older than them. Men of all ages are most attractive to an 18-year-old woman. And 18 was the lowest age of this study as well. So it can get a little bit like kind of creepy and gross if we ask, okay, what if the selection of 17, 16, 15 was available? But literally most guys actually rated 18 as the most. So the issue then is that if you're this guy that this woman eventually settles down with because you're a real man, but this is years after she's already experienced like the party lifestyle, and maybe she's a victim of the sort of bad nutrition and bad mental health, and everyone's kind of overweight these days and everything. Chances are, like, she's just on this physical vanity level, she's not going to be as attractive as you potentially could have gotten if you like attracted her first. Then it's also this more red pill shit of like, if a woman has experienced more relationships and more sex with different guys through her life, then it drastically decreases her ability to be like a good wife and also mother for your children. It drastically increases her likelihood of cheating on you and also of divorcing you. This is statistics and like real fucking studies that people don't want us to talk about because it's so horrible, it's so toxic, it's so like misogynist and stuff. But on average, her likelihood to cheat on you is increased by 7 to 11% per guy that she has slept with before you. A lot of women, when I looked at this online, and there was like articles and Reddit posts and everything from like years ago, and a lot of women were just saying like, oh no, like it doesn't matter the guys that I've slept with, I just like having sex. It doesn't even matter, like I can still be fit. Like, it's not true. It's honestly not true. Every guy that she slept with on average increases her chance to cheat on you by about 10%, and divorce was roughly like 5% per guy. Per guy. It wasn't about how many times that she had sex. A lot of girls have sort of countered this and said, oh, well, it doesn't really matter because if she slept with 10 guys, but, if she just slept with her boyfriend 10 times, it'd be the same thing. No, it's not. Because it's not about quantity of sex. It's about the variety of partners that she's had. If she's hooked up and sort of opened up her body, her heart, and her soul to 10 guys, 20 guys, 30 guys, 40 guys, it quite frankly means that she's unfit for a long-term relationship with the majority of men. There's only one redeeming factor of this, is that if you're a fucking top-tier Chad, if you're like a top-tier 1% man, and you meet a girl who has slept around, but you are literally the best guy that she could ever get in her life, then it seems like maybe she'd still pair bond with you. But what we're talking about is the destruction of a woman's ability to pair bond due to the amount of guys that she slept with before you. And pair bond means essentially to be able to like... Pair bond means pair bonding. The term pair bond means when a woman totally falls in love with you to the point that she idolizes you and you are that masculine figure who like is the most important thing in her life. And that is absolutely essential for a good long-term secure relationship. If you aren't the best, most important thing in her life, then yeah, a lot of fucking people will argue, oh, well, career studies, This is very controversial and red pill shit, and so you can see that the issue with this loneliness is then that, oh man, it's all fucked up, right? The whole thing's just fucked. And then it gets worse because once we understand this like brutal red pill truths of the world, which is, women's sexuality kind of leads to chaos, and it leads to their own unhappiness, and it leads to the loneliness of men. What then happens is that families start to disappear, because the more men who are lonely, which starts from, women's sexuality and feminism and everything, families start to be sort of zoned out, because there's no point getting into a family when, if you're a top tier guy, you can fuck girls without being into a family, and if you're a bottom tier guy, you're irrelevant anyway. So a lot of people, like, so the nuclear family is decreasing. A lot of people just staying single, not having children, which is not ideal for a country, because when a country doesn't have a rise of, because when a country has a reduction in families, the country gets weaker, because good morals and strength starts with the family. And honestly, really everything starts with the strong masculine father figure. Literally everything is about the father. The future of a like, this is, I don't know, is this controversial, is this common sense to anyone else, but like, the future of a country is literally just determined by the quality of their fathers. And if there's no fathers here in this like godless Western countries, because everyone's lonely, no one's having families and everything, the men here are weak, the women here are very promiscuous. When a country doesn't have many families, like, it will start to degrade its strength, its morals, its values. And not quickly, but over time, certainly over time, that country just gets weaker and weaker and weaker. It gets more progressive, it gets more like feminist, it gets more like left wing, and they start taking away funds from their military. They start letting in immigrants, which like sounds racist coming from a brown guy and everything, but like, you'll see why this is important. The country becomes way more individual and free and liberal, and I'm not too much into politics, so I might be wrong here, but essentially those are the political views of quite weak people. And I don't say this as an insult, it's just generally like, strength comes from this lack of tolerance. It comes from harsh intolerance, disciplined morals. It comes from this almost left-wing view of like, yep, if you're not rich, it's your fault, shut the fuck up, you're not getting handouts. The left is a lot weaker and more, like, nicer and more sort of feminine with this thing of like, oh, well, if you're not rich, like, we'll give you some free money, don't worry. With these values of a country, it starts to get weaker and weaker. But, you know, this is the point which a lot of these Western countries are in. But it doesn't seem too bad. It seems like, you know, it's nice times. You know, the women here, like the really hardcore feminist women here, are trying to cause the hardcore feminists in Western countries are trying to have debates of like, oh yeah, like, you know, patriarchy rules here, but like, we can change that. Like, yeah, we don't need men. Like, women can just work those jobs anyway. Like, only men rule for now, but we'll change that. What they don't realize is like, they've been born and bred and raised in a society that's been deeply safe for all of their life, and so they haven't needed a masculine, strong father figure just yet. But there are other countries that are still masculine. There are other countries that are still disciplined. There are other countries that promote families, which means that those countries do not have a huge level of male loneliness. Because of that, if there is a war to break out, what's going to happen? The lonely, sexually deprived, suicidal, depressed, porn addicted, video games playing, low testosterone, soy eating, vegan food eating men of the West, who don't even have families to fight for, are going to have to go to war against the hard, intolerant, disciplined, strong men who are going to fight for their wives and their children. What's going to happen? What's going to happen when you take a modern Western man who's got 300 nanograms of testosterone, whose dick doesn't even get hard in the morning anymore? What's going to happen when you take him and put him in a cage against a misogynist? Put him in a cage against a right-wing, strong man? A bloodbath. So this seems very like just overly serious what I'm saying, but we've lived in very safe times. If you live in the West, we've lived in very safe times, and those times may be getting close to an end, because right now there may be other countries out there right now that see these countries that we are in the West, in the UK, the US, and they just see them as like easy pickings. Not just yet. Let's let these countries degrade their values a bit more. Let's let TikTok keep ruining the young generation. But I will say this again, there are some countries out there that are still strong. There are countries out there where men are not lonely and they have families. And the father will always win. Click and watch this video right now. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah. Oh. Was that a W or L video, boys? That was a good ass video. We got any dickheads to ban? We got any dickheads to ban? Let me know. 90% of men are lonely. That was a good ass video. I'm proud of that one. W or L video, boys? Which one? spam's getting worse. Is it? We got any dickheads that I need to ban?
Jeffrey ducks away from her.
What time is it? It is 9 a.m. Is anyone a channel member here? Comment and then you should have like a little logo up here next to your name. I would get mods, but I don't know who I could trust here. None of my friends sit around watching streams. No offense. I would implement a message timer. I just don't know how. Manage moderators, toggle timestamp. Oh, my eyes are getting Okay, we got one more dickhead who's out. We got any more? Any more dickheads who want to get banned? Anyone else? Boom. Anyone else? Any more spammers? Lucid dreaming, Hamza. Lucid dreaming. Oh, Hamza, have you watched Fight Club? Fight Club, Hamza. Fight Club. Okay, anyone else? Any more dickheads want to spam quickly? Just spam right now. And then I'll ban you, and then you can never speak on the channel ever again. I've never looked at the ban list for the channel, but people have to make a new account if they want to comment after this. Crampy. Yeah, banned Crampy. We're not reacting to any irrelevant YouTubers, boys. Sweet. Let's go for the next video. The next one will be girls want guys that ... I'll just give my camera like a minute to not overheat. Yeah, I'm writing a book already. It's gonna take a while though, but it will be released, and it will be probably the single greatest like piece of work that we've released. How do you add a timer for the text? Anyone know? How do you add slow mode? Is it you put it per videos? Oh, hang on, I might find it here. Oh, there we go. Slow mode. Let's go 20 seconds. How long should I put the slow mode on? I think it's on now. 20 seconds. Oh, the dickheads can't speak now. It's 20 second slow mode, okay. The dickheads are still gonna be stood here, like with the copy and paste ready, like trying to do it. Like, come on, come on, 9 more seconds, 9 more seconds, 9 more seconds, please, 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 please. Ugh. 20 seconds. Yeah, 20 seconds is good, yeah. I'll leave it on 20 seconds, and if there's any more dickheads, then we'll get rid of them. Sweet. So you have to manually put it on every time you stream, then I'll do it from now on. No, we're not hiring editors. We've got 7 now. We've got a full team of editors. Does it look like I'm jacking off right now? Okay, we got one more video. And then I really want to go to the gym, but I might take a rest day because my legs are still sore as fuck. I really want to go there. Should you still go to the gym if your muscles are sore? I don't think you should you? I'm not going to be able to actually hit the same weight. Okay, we got one more. Oh yeah, it looks like I'm jacking off, doesn't it? I'm not even moving my hand, I'm just like bouncing my leg. Hamza relapsing midstream. No, not November's almost over, guys. I'm just getting ready. Oh, my eyes, bro. I need to go back to sleep, man. I've been taking a nap almost every day now. Nah, my upper body's sore as fuck as well. I just trained arms yesterday, so I can only train legs today. I won't be able to train arms again because it's just train them yet. My fucking biceps are sore like shit, and my triceps as well. So I won't be able to hit push or pull. Then legs maybe, but then my quads are fine, so I might be able to like work around that, but my hamstrings are still fucked. When did I train? Hang on. When did I train the last workout? So I did shoulders and I did legs on Friday. It's been Saturday, Sunday off, so I've had 2 rest days. Bro, hamstrings for me are so weird. It's like if I do 2 sets for hamstrings, I'm sore for like 4 days afterwards. Honestly, I think from now on, like I'm just gonna mostly do quads and literally just do 2 sets for hamstrings. Just do like 2 sets of Romanian deadlifts, but mostly go quad dominance. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, maybe go train today. Actually, it'd be nice to train. So squat. 3 sets of squats. 2 sets of Romanian deadlifts. 2 sets for leg extension, and then 3 sets for calf raises. Yeah, Romanian deadlifts are hardcore anyway. Do you guys want to see my new arm day? I follow this YouTuber now where I'm doing a specific arm day once a week or even twice a week now. Arms and a little bit of shoulders. because I've not trained arms in a while. Like I follow like the dickhead bodybuilders, the weightlifters' advice of like, oh, you know, don't train arms, just do compound lifts and just don't do any isolation exercises because that means you're weak. Fuck off, bro. I follow like I became a weightlifter for the last few months, and honestly, I started like not even enjoying training anymore. And it was just like 2 days ago where I realized I was like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I training like a weightlifter, like a power lifter? Like I was just doing like squat and bench and just doing like low reps for the last like literally year. And I couldn't even, like, it just hit me. I was like, why the fuck am I doing that? I'm a bodybuilder, not a power lifter, bro. So I just switched back and now I'm doing, like, direct arm work again. I got a massive pump yesterday. And, yeah, it feels good, man. I'm actually really enjoying it. Go to the military for discipline for a year. Yeah, you can do, man. Military is a good career for young men. You shouldn't skip compound lifts, bench, squat and stuff and rows. But if you want to look good, you need to train more like a bodybuilder, not a weightlifter. You need to do the small, fix my posture. You need to do the small isolation exercises. If you want to look good, you need to do a small of these. Like you can't just train like a power lifter, weightlifter type of shit. You can't just do like low reps, strength training. You need to train like a power lifter. You need to train like these small muscles. You need to do direct bicep work, direct tricep work, direct forearm work, direct neck work and everything. Thank you, 2-1. $9.99. What is your split like? Right now I'm doing legs on one day, chest and shoulders on, no, chest and back on the next day, then arms and shoulders on the third day. I really like this split. So legs, chest and back, arms and shoulders, 3-day split, and just keep repeating, and just take rest days when I need to. So it's like it's quite a customized split. It's not like a routine one, which you'd know about, like, you know, push-pull legs or something. It's quite like customized. Nah, don't dirty bulk, bro. That's stupid. How many times per week? I've just gotten onto this new routine, so I wonder how many it'll be. I'll go for like, it's hard to say, man, because obviously like more isn't actually better. Like I could go to the gym today and maybe I will, but like if I went today, it might not even be a good thing. Like if you keep going when you're still sore and when you're not recovered. So it's hard to say. Yeah, that's very true, Maximilian. I've only ever gotten an injury from doing heavy lifting. Never ever will you get an injury from doing like bodybuilding, 10 reps or above sets. You'll only ever get a gym injury if you're just lifting heavy, honestly. Unless you're like a dickhead with the weights and you just got poor form or something, yeah. But like your form, even for like advanced lifters, your form can break down when you start lifting too heavy. You put like an extra 2.5 kilograms on the bar when you thought you were ready for it, and then that can throw you off totally. Oh, I can't wait to go to the gym. I really want to go today, actually. I might just do a smaller leg day. 3 squats, 2 sets of RDLs, 2 sets of leg extensions, a couple of calf raises, 1 secret exercise, which I've never mentioned before, which I'll see how that works, and then I might let you know. And then go home. 1 hour workout. Boom. Easy, easy, easy. Easy, easy, easy. Yeah, I'll do that. Right, I'm going to go do 1 more video, boys. And then we will go. So we have a video that I need your help with, and it's titled "Girls Want Guys That ... So a question that I have for you that I want you to help me with this video is: girls want guys that ... what? Girls want guys that what? Girls want guys that... Finish the sentence, boys. Girls want guys that... Finish the sentence. Oh, mate, my arms are so sore. Holy shit. Oh, that's more like it, man. Training like a bodybuilder. In a bit, Josh. Oh, my laptop's gonna die. They smash them good. Take care of themselves. Yo, baby, if you're watching, can you bring me my charger, please? My laptop charger, please. Have a bright future. Masculine. Treat them badly. It's not that... How many of you right now think that girls want a guy who treats them badly? Spam 1 if you believe that girls want a guy who treats them badly. And spam 2 if you're like, no, girls don't want a guy who treats them badly.
There you go.
Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Love you. W woman in the chat, boys. What did I say about masculine and feminine energy, bro? Alright, girls want guys that... This is inspired by Rolo Tomasi, this video I'm about to record now. Girls want guys that what? What do girls want from guys that what? That just get it. Girls want guys that just get it. You're losing her, Jeffrey. He feels so bad. He started noticing that Jessica's less into him. And then Jeffrey does the worst thing that he could possibly do. Hey, can you just tell me like what I'm doing wrong and then just tell me what to do and I'll, whatever will make you more into me and I'll do it. Oh, Jeffrey, no. It's too late. She's already gone. Jeffrey didn't understand the crucial thing that girls want in a guy. Adonis. Adonis has it all so much that he barely even recognizes what it is. Himself and all of the natural alpha. No. He acts in exactly the perfect way around his woman. He never asks her for advice. He never asks her for advice on how to handle her feminine emotions. He never pleads or tries to bargain her attraction. Because Adonis has developed and totally ingrained the masculine personality that's so attractive to women. Like a lot of young guys like a lot of young guys, I was pretty clueless when it came to getting girls and attracting them, and especially how to navigate a longer term relationship. And I did some like cringy shit with girls that I dated where I thought that I could open up to them to the extent that the world was telling me. You know, everyone tells you, yeah, open up to your partner and be emotional. Yeah, all these people tell you these lies that will destroy your relationship. And I listened to them. I remember the first ever girl that I like went on some dates with, and I would ask her like how I could be better to be like a date for her. And you might think that right now, like, oh yeah, like, what an upstanding young man who did this. You know, some male feminist is like, yeah, wow, like yeah, that's exactly what we should be like. Yeah. Do you think that was a turn on for her? Do you think that you're gonna seem more sexy when you crumble and you act like a little boy to your like mother, like this girl that you're dating? You act like she's your mother and you ask her like, mommy, like, what should I do to please you? You see, what girls want, probably more than anything else, which no girl would probably even consciously be able to admit. Girls want guys that just get it. Girls want guys that understand how to navigate like a good relationship with them. Girls want guys that understand how to navigate a good relationship with them. They want a man who can handle their moods and emotions in the right way without acting like a chump. Now, most guys don't get it. Most guys don't get how to handle with girls, and so they act in the wrong way. And worst of all, they falsely believe in this sense of security that they can act in any way possible and their girl will still love them. Like, a lot of guys have this kind of weird entitled feeling to a woman's love when they're in a relationship, that they'll act like a chump around her, they'll act uncertain, undecisive, demasculated around her. They won't act like the leader anymore. They won't act masculine around her. And they'll even openly say to their girl, like, and ask for her advice in terms of how to maintain and even grow her own attraction. And you'll see this with a lot of older men, you know, who have literally been married with their wives. And this man, this chump, is wondering why his wife is not having sex with him anymore, and he starts asking her like, yeah, so why won't you have sex with me? If I and then, you know, she'll say like what's consciously on her mind, like, oh yeah, you know, I'm just tired, and the chump will say, oh well, you know, if I do some of the chores, if I help you with the chores, will you please then have sex with me? This is the dynamic of a lot of relationships. This is how a lot of relationships end up, where the guy's totally sexually deprived. The woman doesn't even want to have sex with him anymore, and he starts pleading and bargaining with her, and starts saying like, oh well, you know, like, if I help you, you know, you're tired. If I do more of the chores, and if I be a good boy, will you please have sex with me? And she's like, oh yeah, fine then, yeah. And what do you think's happened? He's bargained for her love and attraction, and now it's an obligation. Now she's like, it just feels cringe and uncomfortable for her. Now she feels like almost coerced or forced into being intimate with him, which causes even more resentment, because what a woman truly wants in this situation, she doesn't want a chump who asks her why this is happening. She wants a guy who understands it without the need of an explanation. It's so unsexy for a woman. You must keep this in mind. It is deeply unsexy and unattractive and unappealing and a turn off for women to tell you to be more of a man. Interestingly, a lot of women and just modern day people and male feminists are telling men to not act like men and to instead act like women, to act like feminine women, to act like feminine men. A lot of people are giving you this a lot of people are testing you when they say this. They're testing you to see like if you are actually like more of the alpha male personality. I know this seems weird, and some male feminists can react to this and say that, oh, we're being toxic or something. What makes a woman deeply uncomfortable, when you think about the concept of making a woman feel like you're creepy or weird, guess exactly why that happens. It happens because you didn't really know your place. She didn't see you as that sort of alpha male, high value man that she would happily get with. She saw you as more of a beta. And so when you, for example, try and speak to her and try and flirt with her and try and keep messaging her, and she sees it as creepy, it's because she sees you out of place. It's creepy because you're not acting as you're supposed to do by these social metrics. And so essentially when young men are told lies like, oh yeah, you know, be emotional and cry in front of your girlfriend, and it's okay, you know, like, you know, communication is key to a relationship. This is more of like a test, and the guys who fail this test and end up, you know, communicating with their girlfriend, like, fucking shit advice, bro. You ask any modern day person what the key to a relationship is, and they'll say this, like, blue pill, like, cringe advice. the key to a relationship isn't communication. It's not that, bro. You know what the key to you want the secret of a relationship, from my understanding so far? Be masculine and also be loving. It's as simple as that. That's all you can do, is be masculine, be loving, be more focused on your work than you are on your woman. And then once you're done with your work, go and spend time with your woman and make sure you really like nurture and fill up her love. If you are deeply masculine, she'll be deeply feminine. Now you need each other. Now you're really polarized. Now there's so much sexual attraction that you're so into each other. Boom. Girls want a guy who just gets that. They don't want a guy that they have to sit down and tell you to be more of a man. They don't want a man. They don't want a guy who they have to sit down and tell you to be more of a man. You know, one of the most uncomfortable things for a woman is to tell you, like, can you be more dominant? You know, she'll subtly say this to, if you're a chump, a woman will subtly say this to you, like, oh yeah, like, yeah, I like, you know, I like it when you act a little bit more dominant. You should do more of that. Like, you really think she's getting turned on by the guy that she has to coach? And this brings us to an interesting question of, is the things that we're doing here attractive? So a lot of, like, you know, the self-improvement that we've been on to become more attractive and to, you know, eventually attract like a really good woman and eventually have children. It's not attractive what we're doing, you know, in terms of what we're doing here is abnormal, and it is pretty unattractive to be a guy who's and it is pretty unattractive to be a guy who's actively learning how to spend, like, and it is pretty unattractive to be a guy who's actively learning to be better with women. Every now and then you'll see this in our comments where some girls will come in and say like, oh, like this is like weird. This is weird. Like, what, all these guys are like actually trying to learn like how to text girls and stuff. That's cringe. I wouldn't date any of you guys. And the thing is, I don't blame them. What we're doing here is cringe as fuck. Like, you know, you're hearing advice from a different guy who's telling you, yeah, like this is the way to get girls. It's cringe and it's unattractive. Honestly, because what girls are attracted to is the natural. Because what girls are attracted to is the natural. They want a guy who just gets it, in the sense that he was born like this. They admire and look up to a man who's really disciplined and stuff, but you need to almost play to her desire that you are naturally like this sort of guy with the great genes, with the hardworking effort already. Why? Well, it's evolution. She needs to ensure that you are naturally the kind of guy that you're acting like, and it's not just a facade. It's not just like, you know, an act that you've learned from Hamza's YouTube video. This is why things like going to the gym and building up your body are so effective at attracting more girls, because it's just a natural evolutionarily attraction figure that when you're more in shape and you look muscular and you've got like this low body fat percentage, it's a deeply primal attraction that comes from women because it symbolizes good genes. Now, it's not actually genes that build the muscle. Like, we've went in and fucking trained for years, you know, all these bicep curls and shit we've been doing, and eating protein and 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight and all this shit that we've been autistically doing, like weighing every gram of rice, weighing every grain of rice individually, like, oh, I need 397 grams today. It's not about our genes, but it somewhat symbolizes, it's not about our genes, but subconsciously, when we look a certain way and we have this big size about us, it subconsciously just manipulates a woman's mind to think that you are the natural alpha male. What I'm saying is cringe. What I'm saying will make a lot of people uncomfortable, but this is the brutal truth. Women want the natural. We're not the natural. If you're watching this video right now, you are not the natural Chad. But we can almost fake it to the point that we make it. And that happens through self-improvement. That happens through going to the gym and building up these like evolutionary triggers that are so deeply primal attraction in women. And so that's why I think a lot of the things that we do here, and you see in the male space of, you know, men saying, yeah, like improve yourself, get into the top 1% of men, it's seen as very like toxic, it's seen as very like misogynist and really bad, isn't it? Like, a lot of women look down on this kind of movement that we have, because what we're really doing is manipulating their core desire of the guy who's already naturally at the top, who has the best genes. That's truly what they want, honestly, and it's pretty black-pilled. What women truly want is the guy who is... What women truly want is the guy who has the best genes. If you're watching this video, you're probably not him. But we can almost act like him to the point that we're not that different. There was a post on the Red Pill a while ago, so on the Red Pill subreddit, it's like the forum page, and it was titled, "You Were Born Like This." And this user gave this story, which I really liked at the time, which he said that he was with his girlfriend, and she asked him about And he told this story that one time he was with this girlfriend, like this guy online that he's writing this article, right? So he's with his girlfriend, and one time his girlfriend's like admiring like his muscle or something, and she says to him, "I'm like, oh yeah, I know you work hard, but like you were born like this." And he almost like argues the point, like, no, like I wasn't, like I've worked really hard for this physique. And you know, the conversation ends, whatever, and she comes back in, she's like, no, like you were born like this. And eventually kind of like just plays along with it. It's like, yep, yeah, fair enough. That woman, this guy's girlfriend, didn't know that he was putting in like this autistic amount of detail into his diet, his training, his recovery, that he's been one RIR, one rep in reserve on every set in the gym, and he's doing a closer grip bench press because he's trying to like target out his inner chest, but actually the inner chest, you know what I mean? He's very specific in his training to build like this jacked physique, and his girl couldn't even believe that this was the case, because to her the fantasy is that he was born like this because that symbolizes the better genes. Alongside that, if you're the guy who's got the best genes and you look amazing, well then you're the kind of guy who naturally understands how to navigate around women. And the thing is, we're not natural at all. We weren't naturally born with massive levels of testosterone or like good physiques, otherwise we wouldn't be watching the self-improvement content and also the content about how to attract more women. If we were the natural, we wouldn't need that because we'd just attract women naturally. So we're unnaturally doing this. And the act of this is not attractive, but only if you actually mention it to the girl. Does this make sense? So essentially what we're doing here by watching my videos and, you know, getting onto self-improvement and lifting some weights to be more attractive, and of course you're doing it for other reasons as well, but like in terms of just dating and stuff, what we're doing here isn't attractive, and girls don't actually want guys who have autistically put this much detail into it. But you don't actually have to tell her. You don't have to tell her that you weren't born like this. You don't have to tell her that, oh yeah, I've got like shitty genes and stuff. Like, oh yeah, you don't have to tell her this stuff. You can, yep, you know, this is why you've always heard of this advice, that this is why all of the advice you've ever seen online is just about you. This is why all of the advice you've ever seen online about attracting women is just about you not pretending, but acting in a way that you would be that total natural guy. So for example, the natural, right, the natural Chad with the high testosterone and stuff, he's not going to reply to a girl's text messages fast because he's busy. He might be with a different girl. And so the advice you've always seen when it comes down to texting with girls is like, oh yeah, don't reply too fast. Now you're a chump. You and I are chumps. Honestly, we were born as chumps. And so our natural thing is, oh my God, you're a girl. Oh, a girl showing attention quickly. Like, oh, she might be my princess. And we have to get other guys to tell us like, wait, act like the natural. Act like the Chad. And so, okay, we start manipulatively following this piece of advice, which is unnatural for us. It's unlike our natural behavior. And it works. And then someone else tells us, oh, well, go to the gym, build some muscle, because that symbolizes higher testosterone and better genes. And that's unnatural for us as former chumps. But we do it, we look better, and suddenly, once we've improved so many different angles, you start to even integrate that new personality where you just, yep, this is who I am. I wasn't born like this. I made myself into this, but it's so integrated in my personality that I am this guy now. And maybe, just maybe, you don't want to ruin her fantasy. Maybe... And maybe, just maybe, you don't want to ruin her fantasy. Because you've also seen the advice that tells guys, like, oh yeah, like, work hard, you know, build yourself up. But don't really say that to women. You know, what do you think would be the correct advice that you could give someone to... What do you think could be the correct advice that you could give to someone when... What do you think could be the correct advice that you could give to a guy when his girl compliments his physique and says like, whoa, like, yeah, how did you do it? Did you work out so much? Would the correct response for a guy whose girlfriend tells him like, oh my God, you're so muscular, what do you do for it? Would the correct response to a guy who's dating a girl and his girl compliments his physique, would the correct response for him be like, oh yeah, well, I track every gram of micronutrients and 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, but the study actually said that there was no difference after 0.6, but we can... Would that be more attractive for him saying, oh yeah, essentially I wasn't born like this, but I've made myself into this? Or would the girl be more attracted into him if he just says like, yeah, I go to the gym sometimes. Yeah, like I do some push-ups, yeah. Which one is going to keep maintaining or even growing the mystery in her mind? Girls want guys who just get this. They don't want this beta male chump who has to negotiate desire from her. He has to like negotiate and bargain her desire. They don't want to be married and saddled with this like faithful beta who has to bargain with her and write down, oh, like, okay, so this is our new agreement. I will do the dishes twice per month and you will give me one hand job per year, please. They're not going to do that for, they're not going to bargain to have sex with the guy that they consider like this top tier alpha male. You know, these terms are cringe, alpha male, Chad and stuff, okay, fine. But everyone understands what I'm talking about when I use them, right? So they don't bargain with the Chad. They don't sit down with the Chad and say, like, oh, well, if you do the chores, I'll sleep with you more. Because along with the guy getting it, she gets it too. Girls get this naturally. Girls just biologically are wired to understand this dynamic between alpha and beta. And when a girl takes one look at you, she knows which one you are. And so if you're a beta, she'll make you wait for sex. If you're a beta, she'll treat you a little bit worse. Like, she'll be nice to you and sometimes still polite to you if you're still somewhat attractive, but the experiences you have with a woman who sees you as a beta compared to the experiences that she would have had with other guys who she saw as alpha would make you feel sick. Honestly, would make you feel sick. And if you've been the alpha for some girls, you'll know. Like, they will literally be down to have sex with you 100% of the time. You could literally fuck her in the middle of the public and she'd be okay with it in a certain sense. And any beta male watching this, maybe if you're one of them, would think, like, oh, no, definitely not. Oh. Girls naturally understand this, and they categorize men as like winners or losers, alphas or betas, or Jeffries and Chads, Jeffries and Adonises. And so since they understand this, they also understand exactly how the alpha or the beta would respond to certain situations. And this is where the element of shit testing comes in. You've probably heard of this term before, shit testing. This is when a woman really tests you to see if you are the alpha. So she will test you in a way to see your response, to see if you respond like the alpha, okay, fair enough, you know, test passed and you are the alpha, okay, nice, okay, back to like feeling calm and safe. But when a woman just slightly thinks that you could be beta, she'll test you in a way that, you know, she'll blow up your phone or something, or, you know, there's like hundreds of different kinds of tests that a woman could do for you. And women don't even like actually consciously know that they're testing a man. They just kind of act in a certain way because they act on like emotions quite often. And oftentimes this is actually a test to see your response. And if you respond to this woman as an alpha, then her attraction to you will always be maintained or even grow over time. She'll always be like very sexual with you. She'll always look at you with this like certain look. Whereas if you fail these tests, and these tests often are sometimes problematic for the relationship, sometimes she'll like threaten to leave or something. You know, this happens to a lot of guys where this girl will like threaten to leave and he has to beg and plead her to stay and shit. Well, then he's just shown that he's a chump. Because when she does these things, every woman knows in her mind exactly how the alpha would act, and every woman knows in her mind exactly how the beta would act. They need to know this. I know this seems like really cringe and weird what I'm talking about, but they need to know this for the survival of our species. Just subconsciously, it's just this like normal, innate biological understanding of the kind of man that would be the best for her to stick around and the kind of man that would be a problem for her to stick around. They know this naturally, and so when your natural behavior comes out, when you discard what you've learned from these videos, from the red pill, from people like Andrew Tate, and you discard the new personality that you've started to adopt, her attraction starts to just wane, and she starts testing you more and more, and like problems start appearing. She starts lying to you about something. You see her being a bit more secretive and stuff. Like, this shit happens because she's now realized you're a chump. This is so problematic for so many young men's relationships, and they don't realize the reason why is because you aren't that guy. You are naturally that guy. And so it honestly, like, it seems to take years and years and years for your personality and your identity to truly update to the point that you just feel like, yep, like, I'm a Chad now. Yep, I'm an alpha male now. And for most guys, they don't really get there. And so, you know, they stop improving themselves. They stop going to the gym. They get a bit lazy. They get a girlfriend, get complacent. They start eating junk food. They start like saying, oh, 1 hour of video games is fine per day. And then they start wondering why their girlfriend's shit testing them more. And they're like, oh, fuck, I keep failing all these tests. Well, yeah, because she knows that alpha's not fucking playing video games. And so is this unnatural, what we're doing? Is this manipulative? Is it inauthentic? Technically, yes. But I mean, is going to the gym and building muscle inauthentic because you weren't born like that? I mean, technically, like, you weren't, you know, it's not natural because you weren't born with the muscle. But like, So, if it's better for your life and it's even better for the girl that you're gonna date, do it. But the most important part, which so many guys on self-improvement get wrong, is that they do these things, they start acting more like the alpha, going to the gym, being busy, working on themselves, being masculine, not replying to text so fast, being more focused on work than you are on your girlfriend. And then when the first shit test comes in, they completely crumble and go back to their beta ways, focusing on the girl and everything. And then they miss out. They break up, they got heartbroken, and then they say, oh, well, this shit doesn't even work anyway. If you really want this stuff to help you long term for your relationships for the rest of your life, you need to totally ingrain this new identity that you are that guy, you are that natural, you are the Chad, you are the alpha. And it seems cringe as fuck to say this. The reason why I'm telling you right now, what we're actually doing here, like by watching this video, it's not attractive to women. If you watch a video about mental health and like, oh yeah, like, reading, and okay, that's fine. But if you're specifically watching my dating videos, that's unattractive to most girls. They don't want to see that their guy has been like watching these dating videos or anything. But you don't have to tell her. And if you ingrain this over time, then you just become that guy. For me, I have the plausible deniability, like, yeah, this is part of my work. I have to teach you Spurks, like, what to do here. Like, I don't know if this is going to help anyone, but this is for I don't know if this is going to help anyone, but this video is for a very particular kind of young man who's been through the journey of self-improvement, of reading and watching the red pill content and really wanting to improve how you are when you date with girls. But then oftentimes you've created this new identity, almost like a persona of this, this Chad, and that crumbles as soon as the shit tests start to arise. If you are going to go down this path of wanting to become more like the alpha, this masculine guy who doesn't reply to text so fast and everything, then you need to stay exactly like that at all times, especially when you're getting tested. And I think when a girl tests a guy, that's usually when the guy messes up, because he isn't totally naturally like this. Girls want a guy who just gets it. Girls want a guy who just gets it, who's born like this. Click and watch this video right now, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah! Was that video shit, boys? I think that video was kind of shit. WOL video. Was that helpful to anyone? Let me know. One person said yes. WOL video, boys. Was it helpful to anyone? Did I speak well on it? I think I was kind of like all over the place. I didn't have a plan for this one. Both. Kind of meh. Mid. Was it WL or mid? I reckon my editor crops out some of it, adds like a nice intro and stuff, and it might be pretty good. I think it was a mid video, wasn't it? And if it helps a couple of guys, then it's worth it, isn't it? It's a very specific... I think a lot of people won't really relate to what I was talking about it because it's a very specific problem. But if there's a guy out there who's experienced... Like some of the guys said, oh yeah, this is exactly the problem I was going through. It's going to help someone like that, isn't it? I don't think it's going to be helpful to that many people, though. It's specifically for, like, the kind of person who's been watching a lot of this content and who's then going through some, like, shit test or something. I'll send it to my editor and then see what my team think of it. Right, boys, I'm going to hop off. We got some donations today, but I don't see it on this list, though. Got a donation from Aravind yesterday, or 2 days ago. Yeah, sweet. We'll probably still post it. Well, I'll see what my team say about it. I'm gonna hop off, boys. Go to the gym. Train some quads. Everyone, go to the gym today. Don't be a pussy. Take care, everyone. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah! Bye-bye. Wait. There's always a stream delay, so when I say bye, no one said bye to me yet. I always feel lonely when that happens. You gotta sit around for like an extra 10 seconds, get my goodbye. See that chest spot? See that mass? Goodbye, everyone.